Admiral Taiwan Kim stood motionless on the bridge of the HMS Phantom, his eyes fixed on the holographic display showing Ambassador He Jin Park in the diplomatic chamber. The stealth fleet's advanced systems captured every detail. The 7 alien representatives perched on their elevated platforms, the slight tension in He Jin's shoulders despite her calm expression, the contemptuous glances exchanged between the consortium members. "They truly believe we're primitives," murmured Lieutenant Ji-hoon, monitoring the communications feed beside him. Taiwan's lips curved in a small smile. "Their arrogance serves us well." The HMS Phantom was the flagship of humanity's greatest military achievement, a fleet of warships equipped with revolutionary stealth technology that bent light around their hulls and absorbed all sensor signals. 37 vessels maintained perfect formation around the diplomatic station, invisible to the most advanced alien detection systems. "Fleet status report," Taiwan ordered quietly. Lieutenant Su Bin responded promptly from her station. All 37 ships maintain optimal stealth field integrity. Power reserves at 93%. Weapon systems in standby mode. The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency, their movements precise and economical. Unlike the ostentatious command centers of consortium vessels, the Phantom's bridge prioritized function over form. Compact workstations arranged in concentric circles, minimalist displays, and subdued lighting that reduced eye strain during long missions. On the main display, the Tekken representative continued addressing He Jin, his gray-skinned face betraying no awareness of the human fleet surrounding him. "Your species has achieved faster-than-light travel merely 3 decades ago. The consortium has navigated the stars for millennia." Taiwan noticed He Jin's carefully controlled response and admired her restraint. The ambassador had fought hard against this diplomatic mission, arguing that revealing humanity's true capabilities too soon would be strategically unwise. But political pressures had forced their hand. Earth's governments wanted trade agreements established quickly. The compromise had been Operation Umbra. The Phantom fleet would remain hidden unless absolutely necessary. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Ji-hoon. Ambassador Park just tapped the acknowledgement signal. Taiwan nodded. "She's letting us know she received their insulting offer. Maintain current positions." He moved to the tactical station where Officer Minho was monitoring the alien vessels. "What's the status of the consortium fleet?" 23 warships total, sir, mostly Xorian and Tekken designs. Their weapon systems remain powered down, but their engines are in standby mode. They could mobilize quickly if ordered. Taiwan studied the positions of the alien ships. The consortium had arranged their vessels in a standard defensive formation around the diplomatic station, effective against conventional attacks, but completely unprepared for enemies already inside their perimeter. "They're so certain of their superiority," Taiwan observed quietly. "They positioned their ships to defend against external threats, never considering we might already be among them." He turned to his second-in-command, Commander Yunji. "What's your assessment?" Yunji had been analyzing the consortium's communication patterns. "Their guard is down, sir. Internal communications suggest they're treating this as a formality. The Xorians are already discussing how they'll manage human expansion." On the display, the Meldari diplomat was speaking. "Then you accept the terms. Limited trade rights and the designation of Sol plus 12 systems as your permitted expansion zone." Taiwan watched He Jin's measured response with approval. She betrayed nothing of humanity's true capabilities or the invisible fleet surrounding the station. A soft alert chimed at the sensor station. Lieutenant Su Bin frowned, adjusting her controls. "Admiral, I'm detecting increased energy signatures from the Xorian vessels. They appear to be powering weapon systems." Taiwan moved swiftly to her station. "Show me." The display confirmed Su Bin's report. 3 Xorian warships were activating their forward weapon arrays. "It seems they plan a demonstration of force," Taiwan said. "Alert all ships. Maintain stealth protocols but prepare for possible emergency decloak." The bridge atmosphere tensed as the crew shifted to heightened readiness. The weapons systems officer, Sergeant Junho, moved his hands to his controls without being ordered. "Sir," Jai-hoon called out, "intercepted communications from the Xorian flagship suggest they're targeting a human research vessel near the system edge." Taiwan's expression hardened. "The Stellar Horizon? That's a civilian science ship." "Yes, sir. Crew of 27. They're studying the system's unusual radiation belt." Taiwan activated his secure communication link to the research vessel. "Stellar Horizon, this is Admiral Kim. Initiate Protocol Firefly immediately. Repeat, Protocol Firefly. You have approximately 3 minutes." The captain's acknowledgement came back instantly. "Protocol Firefly confirmed, Admiral. Beginning evacuation procedures." Taiwan turned to his weapons officer. "If they fire on that vessel, calculate firing solutions but hold unless I give the order." "Yes, sir." On the main display, they watched as the diplomatic discussion continued, but Taiwan's attention was split between Heijin's careful negotiations and the Xorian warships moving into position. Protocol Firefly would evacuate the research vessel's crew through stealth shuttles, but the ship itself would likely be destroyed as a show of force. "Ambassador Park doesn't know yet," Commander Yunji observed quietly. "She'll adapt," Taiwan replied with confidence. "That's why she was chosen." The tension on the bridge grew as they monitored the Stellar Horizon's evacuation progress. Small, stealth-equipped shuttles detached from the research vessel, their departures masked by carefully timed energy discharges that would appear as routine operations to distant sensors. "Evacuation complete, Admiral," Jai-hoon reported with evident relief. "All personnel safely away." Taiwan nodded. "Now we wait." They didn't wait long. On the diplomatic station, the Xorian representative stepped forward. Though they couldn't hear his words from the Phantom, the bridge crew watched as the station's display activated, showing the Xorian battlecruiser approaching the Stellar Horizon. "They're making her watch," Yunji said, her voice tight with controlled anger. The weapons fire came without further warning, a brilliant energy beam that struck the human research vessel. The explosion bloomed silently in space, debris scattering in an expanding cloud. Taiwan watched Heijin's face on the display. Her expression remained composed, but her hand moved subtly to her communicator. "She's going to authorize Umbra Protocol," he said quietly. "Prepare the fleet." The hushed silence in the diplomatic chamber felt heavy as the Xorian commander Vex moved forward. His long, serpentine body glided across the polished floor with unsettling grace. Standing at nearly 3 meters tall, he towered over Heijin and the other representatives. "Perhaps the humans require a demonstration of the established order," Vex said, his translator converting the series of hisses and clicks into human language. The yellow slits of his eyes narrowed as he regarded Heijin with open disdain. Heijin felt her heart rate increase, but kept her breathing steady. This was the moment her security briefings had warned about. The Xorians were known for their aggressive tactics, but she hadn't expected such a bold move during formal negotiations. The main display in the chamber activated, drawing everyone's attention. It showed a real-time feed of space near the system's edge, where a small human research vessel, the Stellar Horizon, drifted peacefully against the backdrop of stars. A much larger Xorian battlecruiser approached it with weapons visibly powered. "This is unacceptable," Heijin protested, stepping forward. "That vessel carries civilian scientists." The other consortium representatives shifted uncomfortably but remained silent. The Meldari diplomat looked away, while the Tekken representative studied his datapad with sudden interest. "Your species must understand boundaries," Vex replied coldly. His tail flicked with irritation. "Your vessel has been warned 3 times to withdraw from that sector." Heijin knew this was a lie. The Stellar Horizon had proper clearance to study the radiation belts in that region. Before she could argue further, the display showed the Xorian battlecruiser firing a bright beam of energy. The research vessel exploded in a brilliant flash that temporarily overwhelmed the display's light filters. When the image cleared, only scattered debris remained where the stellar horizon had been. The chamber fell silent. Several of the alien representatives appeared shocked by the sudden violence. The Meldari diplomat's skin had paled to a sickly white, while the normally stoic Tekken representative's facial tentacles writhed in apparent distress. He-Jin's face remained impassive despite the rage and grief surging within her. Years of diplomatic training allowed her to maintain her composed exterior, even as her mind calculated her next move. What the aliens couldn't see, what even Vex with all his arrogance didn't know, was that the stellar horizon's destruction had been anticipated. 3 days earlier, when Admiral Ta-1's intelligence network had intercepted Saurian communications, suggesting possible hostile action, Protocol Firefly had been established. The moment that Saurian vessel had been detected approaching, the crew had evacuated via stealth shuttles, technology the consortium believed humans didn't possess. A regrettable but necessary lesson, Vex continued, clearly expecting He-Jin to break down or plead. Order must be maintained. He-Jin met his gaze steadily. I see the consortium's methods clearly now. Her right hand moved casually to her sleeve, where her communicator was hidden. No one in the chamber noticed the slight movement of her fingers as she tapped a specific pattern. Authorization. Umbra Protocol. She whispered, her voice too low for even the sensitive microphones in the room to detect. Confirmation code. Daybreak. Within seconds, the quantum-encrypted message reached the HMS Phantom, where Admiral Ta-1 sat rigid in his command chair. The bridge crew paused as the verification appeared on his personal display. Ta-1 stood, his movement drawing all eyes. It's time, he announced, his voice clear and firm. Signal all ships. Operation Umbra is now active. Commander Yunji immediately began transmitting the coded orders to the 37 vessels of the stealth fleet. Throughout the system, captains received the same message and prepared their crews. Decloak sequence prepared, Admiral. Lieutenant Subin reported from her station. Field generators standing by for synchronized deactivation. Ta-1 nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. Humanity had hoped to join the Galactic Consortium as peaceful equals, but the Xorians had forced their hand. What happened in the next few minutes would permanently alter humanity's place in the interstellar community. Calculate optimal positioning, he ordered. I want the HMS Shadow directly above the Xorian flagship when we reveal ourselves. Already done, sir, replied Officer Minho. Captain Do-hyun confirms the Shadow is in position. All other vessels report ready. Ta-1 studied the tactical display, showing the invisible human ships positioned strategically around key consortium assets. The plan had been developed over 3 years by Earth's best military minds, a demonstration of force that would establish humanity as a power to be respected without firing a single shot. Time to decloak, he asked. 6 minutes, sir, Jae-hoon answered. Ambassador Park's signal indicated we should follow the full protocol timeline. Ta-1 nodded approval. She wants them to fully absorb what they've done before we show our response. Smart. In the diplomatic chamber, He-Jin watched Vex return to his position, his posture radiating smugness. The other representatives were now discussing the unfortunate necessity of establishing monitoring stations throughout human space. She checked the time discreetly. 5 minutes remaining. We will now outline the compliance requirements, the Tekken representative stated, apparently recovered from his momentary discomfort. Human vessels will submit to inspection at designated checkpoints. He-Jin nodded as if considering their words, while mentally preparing for what would come next. On every ship in the stealth fleet, crews were making final preparations, checking weapons systems, and decloak procedures. Lieutenant Jae-hoon's voice broke the tense silence on the Phantom's bridge. 2 minutes to synchronize decloak, Admiral. Ta-1 straightened his uniform. Open ship-wide communication. When the channel opened, he spoke clearly, his words reaching every crew member on the HMS Phantom. Today, we show the consortium who we truly are. not the primitives they believe us to be, but equals worthy of respect. Our goal is not conflict but understanding. Remember your training. Stay disciplined. Make Earth proud." As he finished, displays throughout the ship began the final countdown. 1 minute. 30 seconds. "All ships confirm ready," Ji-hoon reported. 10 seconds. Tai-1 took a deep breath. "Execute." Lieutenant Su-bin's fingers danced across her control panel with practiced precision. The quantum field manipulators were her responsibility, and she treated them with the care they deserved. These devices were the heart of humanity's greatest military secret, technology that bent light around their ships while absorbing all sensor signals, rendering them completely invisible to even the most advanced alien detection systems. "Field integrity at optimal levels, Admiral," she reported, glancing up at Tai-1 who stood behind her, watching the readings over her shoulder. The bridge of the HMS Phantom hummed with quiet tension. Every crew member understood the historical significance of what was about to happen. After decades of being dismissed as newcomers to the galactic stage, humanity was about to reveal its true capabilities. Tai-1 nodded at Su-bin's report. "Begin synchronization for fleet-wide emergence." She entered the command, and the ship's quantum computers began coordinating with the 36 other vessels of the Phantom Fleet. The decloak had to happen simultaneously. A perfectly choreographed reveal that would leave no doubt about human technological prowess. Synchronization signals transmitted. Su-bin confirmed. All ships acknowledge. Throughout the star system, the invisible human warships silently moved into their final positions. Each captain had memorized the precise coordinates where their vessel should be at the moment of revelation. Aboard the HMS Shadow, Captain Do-hyun stood at the viewport, though he could see nothing of the Xorian flagship below them. His ship had maneuvered with incredible precision to position itself directly above the alien vessel, a position that would make the maximum psychological impact when they revealed themselves. "Distance to Xorian flagship?" Do-hyun asked. 300 meters, Captain," his navigator replied, holding steady. Do-hyun allowed himself a small smile. The alien ship below them was 5 times their size, bristling with weapon systems, yet they had no idea that a human warship hovered just above them, close enough that a skilled pilot could have read the alien markings on their hull. "Communications check with all section leaders," he ordered. His communications officer nodded. "All sections report ready, Captain. Weapon systems are powered but safety's engaged as ordered." From engineering, a voice came through the intercom. "Gravitational lensing systems functioning within parameters," reported Engineer Hyun-ki from below decks. "We can maintain the field for another 17 hours if needed." The stealth field required enormous power. The revolutionary zero-point energy reactors that powered the fleet could sustain invisibility far longer than earlier prototypes, but there were still limits. "That won't be necessary," Do-hyun replied. "Emergence is scheduled in exactly 6 minutes." He turned to his first officer. "Status of the other vessels?" "All in position, sir. The Phantom confirms fleet-wide synchronization is proceeding normally." Throughout the system, a similar scene played out on each ship of the stealth fleet. Human vessels positioned themselves in a complex 3-dimensional formation around the consortium's diplomatic station and military assets. Some hovered near communication relays, others alongside the alien warships. 3 had even taken position at the system's jump point, where any reinforcements would arrive. Back on the HMS Phantom, Admiral Tai-1 reviewed the tactical display showing the positions of all 37 ships. The formation was perfect, designed to demonstrate both capabilities and restraint. When the fleet revealed itself, it would be clear they could have attacked at any time, but had chosen not to. 4 minutes to decloak, Lieutenant Ji-hoon announced. Tai-1 opened a fleet-wide channel. "This is Admiral Kim. In 4 minutes, we will reveal ourselves to the Galactic Consortium. Our goal is not to start a war, but to ensure humanity is treated with the respect we deserve. No aggressive actions unless fired upon. Remember your training." After closing the channel, he turned to Commander Yunji. Status of Ambassador Park. Yunji checked her display. The diplomatic feed shows she's maintaining composure. Commander Vex is still outlining their plans for monitoring stations in our territory. The main screen showed the diplomatic chamber where He-Jin sat, outwardly calm despite being surrounded by aliens who had just destroyed a human vessel. In the background, Commander Vex's serpentine form moved as he addressed the assembly. The monitoring stations will ensure compliance with consortium directives, the Xorian was saying. Humanity must accept proper guidance if they wish to join interstellar society. Taiwan noticed He-Jin discreetly checking the time. 5 minutes remaining. She knew what was coming. She hasn't changed expression once, Su-bin observed with admiration, even after watching them destroy the stellar horizon. That's why she's our ambassador, Taiwan replied. The perfect poker face. On the HMS Shadow, Captain Du-hyun addressed his crew one final time before the reveal. In 3 minutes, we become visible directly above the Xorian flagship. They will likely react with alarm. Weapons remain powered down unless I give the order. We are here to show strength, not start a war. His crew acknowledged the orders with quiet professionalism. Many had served together for years, training in secret for this moment. Specialist Jun Seo at the sensor station spoke up. Captain, I'm detecting increased power signatures from the Xorian vessel below us. They appear to be preparing to move. Where to? Du-hyun asked. Unknown, sir, but their engine output is rising. Du-hyun considered this new information. Maintain position relative to their ship. If they move, we move with them. Stay directly overhead. Yes, sir. Throughout the fleet, final preparations were underway. Sensor officers calibrated their equipment to record the aliens' reactions. Communication specialists prepared to intercept the inevitable panic transmissions. Medical teams stood by, though everyone hoped their services wouldn't be needed. 2 minutes to decloak, announced the HMS Phantom's computer in its calm, feminine voice. Su-bin ran a final diagnostic on the quantum field manipulators. Systems optimal for synchronized deactivation, Admiral. Taiwan nodded. Begin final countdown procedures. On every ship in the fleet, crews watched as the countdown appeared on their displays. Some said silent prayers, others exchanged glances with crewmates. Years of secret development, months of training, and weeks of hiding in plain sight had led to this moment. In the diplomatic chamber, He-Jin listened as Commander Vex finished, detailing the restrictions that would be placed on human expansion. His arrogance was breathtaking, his assumption of compliance absolute. The other consortium representatives nodded along, comfortable in their perceived superiority. None of them noticed as she glanced at her timepiece one last time. 1 minute remaining. The bridge of the HMS Phantom fell silent as the final seconds counted down. Lieutenant Su-bin's hands hovered over the controls, her eyes fixed on the readouts monitoring the quantum field manipulators across the fleet. Every ship had reported ready, their systems synchronized to the millisecond. Decloak sequence initiated, Su-bin announced, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. All ships reporting ready. Admiral Taiwan stood at the center of the bridge, his posture straight, face composed. He nodded once. Execute. Su-bin pressed the command, and the signal spread instantly across the fleet. For an observer in space, the sight would have been breathtaking. Where empty vacuum had existed moments before, 37 human warships suddenly appeared. The sophisticated stealth technology deactivated in perfect synchronization, revealing vessels of various sizes positioned with surgical precision around key consortium assets. The HMS Shadow materialized directly above the Xorian flagship, so close that crew members could see individual Xorians through the viewports staring up in shock. The HMS Vigilant appeared beside the consortium's primary communications relay. The HMS Defiant and HMS Guardian revealed themselves flanking the largest Tekken battlecruiser. On the diplomatic station, chaos erupted. Emergency alarms blared as sensors detected multiple massive objects where nothing had registered before. The station's automatic defense systems activated, but found themselves unable to lock onto targets that surrounded them from all directions. In the diplomatic chamber, the holographic displays activated without command, showing the consortium representatives exactly what surrounded them. The feed cycled through images of human warships positioned throughout the system, each bearing the emblem of Earth's United Defense Force. "What is the meaning of this?" the Tekken representative demanded, his facial tentacles writhing with agitation as his confidence evaporated. The Melveri diplomat stumbled backward, knocking over his chair. The other representatives looked equally shocked, some reaching for communication devices, others simply staring at the displays in disbelief. Only Commander Vex maintained some composure, though his serpentine body had gone rigid with tension. His yellow eyes fixed on Hijin with newfound wariness. Hijin stood taller, stepping forward into the center of the chamber. For the first time since negotiations began, she allowed herself to shed the facade of deference. "The meaning is simple," she stated, her voice clear and firm. "Humanity will not be underestimated or bullied." On the main display, the feed focused on the HMS Shadow, now visible directly above the Xorian flagship. The human vessel was smaller but sleek and advanced, its design unlike anything the consortium had seen before. Its weapon systems glowed with power but remained untargeted, a clear message of restraint despite capability. "This is impossible," gasped one of the minor representatives. "No species has developed functional stealth technology at this scale." "You concealed a fleet," Vex hissed, finding his voice. His translator struggled to convey the mixture of anger and fear in his tone. "This violates all diplomatic protocols." "No," Hijin replied calmly. "We simply didn't volunteer information about our defensive capabilities, information you never asked for because you assumed we were primitive." She walked deliberately around the chamber, making eye contact with each representative. "Your arrogance blinded you. You saw our official vessels, built to conventional designs to ease diplomatic relations, and assumed that was the extent of our technology. You never considered we might be showing you only what we wanted you to see." The chamber's displays continued cycling through images of human ships, now showing close-ups of their advanced weapon systems and propulsion technology. "Humanity comes seeking peace and cooperation," Heijin continued, "but we will not be designated as inferior. We will not accept artificial constraints on our development, and we will certainly not tolerate attacks on our vessels." On the HMS Phantom, Taiwan watched the diplomatic feed with satisfaction. "All ships report status," he ordered. Reports flooded in from the fleet captains. Not a single consortium vessel had attempted hostile action. Most had powered down weapons systems that had been active before the reveal, clearly recognizing the precariousness of their position. "The Xorian flagship is hailing us," Lieutenant Ji-hoon reported. "Put them through," Taiwan replied. The view screen activated, showing the Xorian second in command. The alien scales had paled to a sickly gray. "Admiral of the human fleet," the translator converted his hisses, "we request clarification of your intentions." Taiwan's expression remained neutral. "My intentions were established before you destroyed our research vessel. The Stellar Horizon was a civilian ship, operating legally within agreed boundaries. We were following orders from Command. Orders based on the assumption that humans would not or could not respond." Taiwan interrupted. "That assumption was incorrect. Fortunately for you, our research vessel's crew was evacuated before your attack. Had there been casualties, this conversation would be very different." In the diplomatic chamber, the consortium representatives had recovered enough to begin consulting with each other in hushed tones. Hijin could see their dynamics shifting, reevaluating humanity's position based on this new information. "How many ships?" the Tekken representative finally asked. "Enough," Hijin replied simply. She turned to Commander Vex. "The monitoring stations you proposed for our territory will not be necessary. Neither will the restrictions on our expansion." Vex's posture had changed dramatically. Gone was the towering arrogance, replaced by a more cautious bearing. Perhaps we can discuss revised terms, he suggested. Yes, Hejin agreed. Terms between equals. The Meldari representative stepped forward. Ambassador Park, you must understand our caution. A species with both faster-than-light capability and advanced stealth technology, it is unprecedented. I understand caution, Hejin replied. What I witnessed was not caution but contempt. You destroyed a vessel rather than communicate as equals. She gestured to the displays showing the human fleet. Notice that despite your aggression, not a single human weapon is fired. Our ships revealed themselves in a display of strength, not as an act of war. Remember that distinction as we move forward. On the HMS Shadow, Captain Do-hyun watched as the Korean flagship beneath them powered down its weapon systems completely. His tactical officer confirmed that consortium vessels throughout the system were standing down, clearly reassessing the balance of power. The Phantom is signaling, Captain, his communications officer reported. Admiral Kim says to maintain position, but reduce our power signature by 30%. Show them we're de-escalating. Acknowledged, Do-hyun replied. Reduce power to weapon systems by 30%. Make sure they can detect the change. In the diplomatic chamber, a new silence had fallen. The consortium representatives were no longer looking down at Hejin from their elevated platforms, but across at her as an equal. Perhaps, the Tekken representative finally said, we should adjourn for 1 hour to reconsider our approach to these negotiations. Hejin nodded. I believe that would be wise. The observation lounge on the diplomatic station offered a panoramic view of space. Hejin stood beside Admiral Ta-won, watching the ships outside. 3 days had passed since the reveal of the Phantom Fleet, and everything had changed. The Tekken vessel is requesting permission to approach for the joint maneuver, reported Lieutenant Ji-hoon through Ta-won's communicator. Grant permission, Ta-won replied. Inform Captain Do-hyun to proceed with the demonstration. Outside, the HMS Shadow moved with elegant precision alongside a Tekken cruiser nearly twice its size. The two vessels began a coordinated dance through space, demonstrating the beginnings of cooperation between species that had been on the brink of conflict just days before. I never expected to see this so soon, Hejin said quietly. The door to the observation lounge slid open, and the 7 consortium representatives entered. Their body language had transformed since the first meeting. Gone was the condescension and arrogance. They approached with the careful respect of equals. Ambassador Park, Admiral Kim, the Meldari representative greeted them with a slight bow. The final treaty documents are prepared for signature. Hejin nodded and gestured to the conference table, where the documents were displayed on holographic screens. The new agreement bore little resemblance to the original terms the consortium had attempted to impose. Your stealth technology is remarkable, admitted the Meldari representative as they walked to the table. We had not considered the possibility of quantum field manipulation on that scale. Ta-won smiled slightly. Humanity has always approached problems differently. When you've been the underdog for most of your history, you learn to innovate. The Tekken representative's facial tentacles rippled in what Hejin had learned was a gesture of agreement. We reviewed the specifications you shared. The principles are known to us, but the application... He paused. We would not have thought to combine them in such a way. Commander Vex, who had been noticeably subdued since the reveal, spoke up. The Xorian hierarchy wishes to formally apologize for the destruction of your research vessel. Had we known your capabilities, had you known our capabilities, you would have treated us with respect from the beginning. Hejin interrupted. That is precisely the problem we are here to solve. Vex lowered his head slightly. A fair observation. They gathered around the table as the treaty was displayed for final review. Under the new terms, humanity would join the Galactic Consortium with full member status. The restrictions on human territory were removed, replaced with standard navigation protocols that applied equally to all species. Most significantly, the Phantom Fleet would form the foundation of a joint defense initiative, with human stealth technology being gradually shared with other consortium members over a 10-year period. This is a historic moment, the Melveri representative said. The first time a new species has joined the consortium as a full member from the outset. He-Jin placed her hand on the scanner, officially signing the treaty on behalf of Earth's united government. Each representative followed suit, adding their biological signatures to the document. Now we must demonstrate that this cooperation is more than words, Taiwan said, turning their attention to the viewport where the joint fleet exercise continued. Outside, the HMS Shadow completed a complex maneuver alongside the Tekken cruiser. 5 other vessels, 3 human, 2 alien, joined the formation, executing a synchronized pattern that would have been impossible without shared tactical systems. The Shadow's captain reports all systems functioning normally during the integrated maneuvers. Jai-Hoon's voice came through Taiwan's communicator. The consortium representatives watched with evident fascination as the mixed fleet moved together. For centuries, their species had maintained separate military doctrines, sharing only the minimum necessary for joint operations. This level of integration was unprecedented. "Your ships move differently than ours," observed the Tekken representative. "More fluid, less predictable. Human tactics evolved from centuries of fighting other humans," Taiwan explained. "We learned to expect the unexpected." As the ceremony concluded, the representatives departed one by one, leaving He-Jin and Taiwan alone in the observation lounge. They stood in comfortable silence, watching as the exercise outside continued. "They respect us now," He-Jin remarked. "They respect what we can do," Taiwan corrected her. "Real understanding will take more time." He-Jin smiled. For 3 days, she had negotiated tirelessly, leveraging humanity's newly revealed strength without pushing too far. The balance had been delicate, establishing humanity as a power to be respected without triggering fear that might lead to preemptive action. "But it's a start," she said, watching as the HMS Shadow executed a perfect formation change alongside the Tekken cruiser. The ships moved in harmony, 2 different designs from vastly different civilizations finding a way to work together. "Yes," the Admiral agreed. "A very good start." In the space beyond the viewport, more ships joined the exercise. The HMS Phantom decloaked at the edge of the formation, its appearance still drawing gasps of surprise from the alien crews who weren't fully accustomed to humanity's stealth capability. He-Jin thought about the long journey that had brought them here. Earth's first warp-capable vessel had been treated as a curiosity by the consortium just 3 decades ago. Human diplomats had been patronized, human scientists dismissed. Few had known about the secret research programs developing technologies that would eventually ensure humanity's security among the stars. "What happens now?" she asked. Taiwan's gaze remained fixed on the ships outside. "Now we prove we can be both strong and peaceful, that we can protect ourselves without becoming a threat to others." As they spoke, a message came through on He-Jin's communicator. Earth's united government had unanimously ratified the treaty. Humanity had officially joined the Galactic Consortium as equals. Outside, the mixed fleet completed its maneuvers and formed a ceremonial pattern, a symbolic beginning to a new era of cooperation. "Do you think they'll ever fully trust us?" He-Jin asked. Taiwan considered this. "Trust must be earned. We revealed our strength, but now we must show our wisdom." He smiled slightly. "Humans have been underestimated for the last time. Now the real work begins." The end.